Yes, sir.
Look at those palm trees dance. Look at those palm trees dance.
Naiiyak ka ba?
Hindi. Naantok na ako.
Don't want to mislead. This is all you need. Be your everything, yeah, I'll be your everything. Still too soon to feel. Please just say it's real. More than just a thrill, not just in it for the thrill. I'm in it for the loving, cause loving needs to touch it. You're pressing on my body, babe, let me tell you something. I'm in it for the loving, cause loving needs to touch it. You're pressing on my body, babe, let me tell you something. I'm in it for the love. 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 Even when you're low, you can let me know. You know I will show. Now we're sipping the Bordeaux. With you through it all, winter through the fall. You just make the call, yeah, I'm in it for it all. I'm in it for the love, cause loving needs to touch it. You're pressing on my body, babe, let me tell you something. I'm in it for the love, cause loving needs to touch it. You're pressing on my body, babe, let me tell you something. I'm in it for the love. I'm in it for the love. I'm in it for the love. I'm in it for the love.
Kakagaling ko lang ng grocery. Siyempre, hindi ko hahayaan na pumasok ang COVID-19 sa bahay at mapahamak ang pamilya ko. Kaya iiwan ko ang sapatos ko sa labas.
streets. You said it would be alright. I tried to stop you asking why. You started out to face it. My heart went off like crazy. You placed your arms on my head. We fell into my small bed. You started out to face it. My heart went off like crazy. I felt my breath was taken. We were about to make it.
Mic check. Check mic. Mic test. Mic test. Okay. Thank you.
Hello po, mic test.
Good morning, everyone. It is a great pleasure to welcome you all to Expert Online or Expert O's webinar entitled Innovations in Food Processing by the DOST Industrial Technology Development Institute. This is Mayro Suerte, Section Head of the Technology Transfer and Commercialization of the DOST Regional Office 6, and I will be your host and moderator for this session. This webinar is the first episode for the series on business opportunities in food innovation because we at DOST believes that one way to move forward from the COVID-19 pandemic is by coming up with innovative food products. First of all, we would like to start today's activity with a prayer to be led by Ms. Noveline Ann Captuar, Science Research Specialist 1 of DOST 6, and to be followed by the singing of the Philippine National Anthem. Hello. Let us pray. Our Heavenly Father, we praise you for this activity today and for your purpose for it. Thank you, Lord, for the opportunity and resources to conduct this webinar, especially for the efforts and skills of the people behind this activity. We pray that while we have our own plans and goals to accomplish, your divine agenda will be done. Give us guidance, Lord, and wisdom this morning. Give us peace and guard our hearts. As we succeed with today's webinar, we give back all the glory and honor to your name always. This we ask in the mighty name of Jesus. Amen. Moving on, DOST is conducting this activity to really help our micro, small, and medium enterprises or MSMEs, which are often referred to as the lifeblood of the Philippine economy. According to the Department of Trade and Industry, the MSME sector employs nearly 7 out of 10 every 10 employed Filipinos. So ito pong webinar ay para po magbigay ng ideya sa ating mga MSMEs kung ano ang mga available technologies from DOST na pwede po nilang i-adopt o i-commercialize para makapag-offer sila ng makabagong produkto or innovative products sa merkado. At this time, we would like to acknowledge our Google Meet participants as well as our viewers through the One Expert portal. We would like to especially acknowledge all our participating MSMEs, DOST personnel, and interested stakeholders both from the private and public sectors. Maraming salamat po sa inyong pagdalo. Before we begin, we just have a few reminders. Everyone is in listen mode except for the speaker and the moderator. After the presentation, we will accommodate questions during the open forum session. All participants may send in their questions through the chat window. Just type in the name of your institution, your question, and to whom do you address it. Please take time to answer the client feedback form after the webinar in order to get a certificate. The link for this will be announced later on. I think we are all set. I hope everyone is ready in their seats because at this point, we will meet our first expert speaker for today who will orient us about the DOST Industrial Technology Development Institute. Let us all welcome Ma'am Laurel Baracol, Supervising Science Research Specialist.
Good morning.
Good morning, ma'am.
Yeah, good morning.
Go ahead, ma'am.
Yeah. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Yeah, good morning, all the participants out there. Allow me to tour you to ITDI using this virtual platform. I hope everyone hear me.
You're loud and clear, ma'am.
Okay, thank you very much. Next slide, please. Okay, to start with is, especially for those participants out there, I would like to give you some, let's go back a little bit about the history of ITDI. So we are created based on the Executive Order 366, 2009, dated 2009. Our main work and role in the Philippines is to perform scientific and technological services to our clients, especially the industry, academe, our co-government offices, other non-government organization and private organizations. And part of this is to undertake applied research and development to generate new knowledge and technologies and innovation in the field of industrial manufacturing, mineral processing, food processing, environment, materials, and energy. And for those I've mentioned research and development works, we need to translate it to bring this to market. And in what form? Through technology transfer and commercialization, which is also one of the main works of ITDI. We also provide technical services, test and analysis, and metrology to ensure that international traceability of the national units of measures. Our mission is to make local industries globally competitive. And our vision is excellence in propelling development as provided of technologies and services for the industry. And then some of you will question how will going ITDI do it? So in addition from what I've said, among the Institute of the Department of Science and Technology, our office, as our name implies, industry. So we cater to the different industry sector. How? By our 5 R&D divisions, namely Chemicals and Energy Division, Environment Biotechnology, Food Processing, Material Science, and Packaging. I will discuss to you the details of how this technology works in order to perform our support to the industry and to other sectors. For the Chemicals and Energy Division, they are in charge in the performing projects R&D in energy, industrial and chemicals, pharmaceuticals, and process development. For our Biotechnology Environment Division, industrial fermentation is one of the focus. Waste management, which is very important, converting those waste into usable products. Microbial treatment, resource efficient and cleaner production. While our Food Processing Division is in charge on food engineering, food safety, and product development. Our Material Science Division is in charge on advanced materials, special materials, and surface engineering. And the Packaging Technology Division is in charge on packaging of our research and development products, testing laboratory, packaging design, packaging library, and pilot plant. And then we have these national laboratories and technical services. If you heard the word ADMATEL, I think it's very, the regions are very familiar with this. It is Advanced Device and Material Testing Laboratory, which is in charge on the following services: focused ion beam, field emission scanning electron microscopy, Auger electron spectroscopy, time of flight secondary ion mass spectrometry, Fourier transform infrared spectroscopy and imaging, differential scanning calorimetry, thermomechanical analysis, thermogravimetric differential, and thermal analysis. Bear with me, the words are very technical in nature. Okay, then the next laboratory is the National Metrology Laboratory. This lab is responsible for the establishment, development, maintenance, and dissemination of national measurement standards in physical quantities that are consistent with the SI or other international recognized standards. What are those? There are mass, length, temperature, time interval, luminous intensity, frequency, pressure, voltage, and resistance. Okay. Then we have also the Standard and Testing Division, which is in charge for test and analysis of various products and materials. It also provides technical services to different stakeholders. Like sa chemistry laboratory, we have these foods and feeds, fuels and petroleum, water, industrial chemicals, minerals and fertilizers, natural products, paints, and allied products. Then biological laboratory, also food, water, cosmetics, pharmacological, toxicological testing of pharmaceuticals, food supplements, herbal products, cosmetics, pesticides, and household insecticide. And with regards to physical and performance testing, engineering and materials testing lab, we have those plastics and polymers, cement, adhesive and sealants, rubber and leather, engineering and construction materials. We have also services like ETV, which is Environmental Technology Verification. This is for establishment and to prove the truth of the environmental performance of a technology for established protocols or specific requirements. Next is MIC, which is Metrology and Chemistry, a traceability and comparability of chemicals measurements to global MIC standards. Then the Nano R&D Laboratory, which provide nanotechnology related analytical services and research and development. We also conducted energy audit. What is this energy audit? It is an examination of energy consumption toward energy conservation. It is also a tool for industries to improve their productivity and competitiveness and environmental protection as well. We have also offered services regarding resource efficient and cleaner production. This is a continuous application of an integrated preventive environmental strategy to process the products and services to increase efficiency and reduce risk to human and the environment. This is part of the environmental protection. Okay. And then another services is the food safety. It is a processes or routines that prevent health hazard or foodborne illness. So you usually heard this mga terminology like CGMP, which is the current good manufacturing practices, HACCP, that is hazard analysis critical control points, the standards for ethnic foods, product and process standardization, equipment facilities for thermal processing with heat distribution test and heat penetration test. Usually po, those laboratories, those food plant natin, ay nagre-require po ang FDA ng mga ganitong mga standards. They have their routine check and monitoring if those food plants are complying with the standards and requirements. Then another services po na in-offer natin is the food engineering. It is a package of services to improve productivity and competitiveness intended for the food processing industry. What are those? So those are engineering consultancy, process development, design and fabrication of food processing equipment, design, layout, and setup of processing plant. And then, like what I've mentioned, we have this division in charge in the packaging technology. So what are those? You can see in the slides, those companies and industries that availed our services. Those are packaging services, can be food or non-food products that we provided to industries and stakeholders to improve their product viability and competitiveness. Di ba po, when we buy a certain product, sometimes kahit hindi pa natin, kumbaga sa Bisaya, hindi pa natin natitilaw yung lasa ng product natin. But the packaging speaks by itself. So nakakabili tayo ng mga products. We buy those products by just looking for sa packaging materials niya tsaka din sa mga pictures na nasa packaging. Kumbaga nakakainganyo. So, yan. So including po sa design at packaging, label design, packaging testing, transport packaging, and performance evaluation. Later on po, I think some of them will be discussed by our director, Ma'am Annabelle. And then the technology transfer details po will be discussed by my chief, Ma'am Nelia Florento po, for the details. Okay, then we have different facilities po. You've seen in the slides po ay some of the facilities lang. For those details po, you can also look for ITDI website. Nandun po yung much detailed services, facilities that you can avail of. We'll just choose po some facilities that is applicable. Kasi our focus for this training, this webinar, is on food technologies. So what are those? So essential oil extractor, scanning electron microscope, X-ray diffraction equipment, vacuum drying, frying facilities, food processing equipment facilities like hydraulic press, steam jacketed kettle, vacuum sealer, water retort, and freeze dryer. Then the heat penetration and distribution test, system gas analyzer, and this is natural gas analysis and others. Like I've mentioned po, you can look po sa aming website. And another thing po is you can write naman po sa amin if you want to get some information, details, and para po, then express po whatever your needed services po sa amin. Okay, I think this is my last slides. I'll give you a broad spectrum pa with what we are doing. The details nga po of this will be discussed by my chief, Ma'am Florento. So we have this technology transfer and contract projects. Technology transfer is our mode. In order for the industries, for those clients to avail our technologies. We have this transfer of mature technologies with techno-economic viability. We can also help you in giving an idea. We also give you an idea what's this economic viability, what is the financial prospect of this technology, is whether kikita ba or in what capacity. Kasi we have this economies of scales. Hindi lahat po ng nagnenegosyo. It's really a risk. But through the help, we provide you this projection, we provide you this idea in terms of financial, and share the technical viabilities on it. Para you have an idea po, what are you going into? Okay. It's also from the product process development to techno assessment and then to commercialization. And then next is the industry training and skills development. It is a hands-on experience in manufacturing and various industrial processes, and demonstration training on various technologies for income generation. So in terms of training po ito. And then next is our technical information and promotion. This is a documentation and dissemination of information on S&T services, technologies, and other technical inquiry data and promotion assistance to client in various media channels. So marami po ito. If you attended yung mga SMT Week, NSTW Week po ng DOST, we have this technology transfer activity. I think sa Visayas po, we conducted several. Okay. So, ngayon po, medyo because of this epidemic COVID, medyo na-limited po yung face-to-face natin. That's why through this virtual activity that we're conducting, we try our best. Hindi po kasi pwedeng, dahil may epidemic tayo, mapuputol na yung services natin. So, we're looking for platform and other activities po na we still continue whether medyo limited lang yung face-to-face natin. So, Yun po, I think this is my last slide. And this will be followed by much detailed presentation by my chief, Ma'am Nelia Florendo, and Ma'am, our director muna, Ma'am Annabel Briones, for our technologies in focus for this webinar. For this, thank you very much po.
Thank you very
Ma'am Mary Rose.
Ma'am, thank you very much. Ang ating mga participants at viewers ay may klarong kaalaman na tungkol sa DOST-ITDI
Yes.
bilang isa sa mga research and development institutes ng DOST. So ngayon, we have come to the most anticipated part of this session, the technologies ready for transfer and commercialization by DOST-ITDI. This will be discussed by none other than its director, who is an expert in both chemistry and engineering. She has decades worth of researches in Karajinan and other pharmaceuticals, as well as the development of the mosquito OV larvicidal trap. These researches garnered various awards within the scientific community, earning her the title of Scientist 1 in 2018. Let us all welcome Dr. Annabel Briones, Director of the Industrial Technology Development Institute. Good morning, ma'am.
Good morning, Mary Rose, and thank you for the introduction, the generous introduction. And before I would like to start, I would like first to extend my thanks to Director Rowan Gilonga for this webinar, and the one expert also, as well as the FOB DOST6 Secretariat. And I also would like to greet all the participants and the viewers who are tuned in this live presentation. And I also would like to acknowledge my team, ITDI team, so headed by our Chief of the Technological Services Division, Miss Nelia Florendo. We have Cherry Luz Moico, Miss Lorily Baracol, nagsasalita kanina. And then we have Jose Ramon Cuevas, Champi. And we also have Mark Kitolio, naging charge ng ating presentation. As well as nandito si Dr. Norbert Ambagan, the Chief of the Food Processing Division. So, muli, thank you very much for this opportunity for featuring the ITDI and also our developed technologies, particularly in food. Okay, presentation, please. Mark. So again, I would like to thank the organizers for the opportunity for us to feature the MSME's technologies of ITDI, particularly on food. Next slide. The outline of this presentation, first we'll have the promotion and transfer of our ITDI food processing technologies. This will be composed of 3 parts. So for the benefit of our MSME's guest, we will start with a rundown of food processing technologies, which is being grouped according to their commercial readiness classification. And then the second part will be on the policies that make these technologies accessible to the MSMEs. And the last part will be on the reason for the technologies being grouped this way and what that might mean to the MSMEs who are interested in the DOST technologies. So part 2 and part 3 will be presented by Miss Nelia Florendo later after my presentation. Next slide. Let me introduce some of the food processing technologies available for transfer from ITDI. So first, group of technologies. These are a group under the pre-commercialization. So meaning we only have the technology fee and no need for the FOB. So this will be explained later by um, Ms. Nelly on this. So here you will find four technologies. Let me um, first explain why this is categorized at the pre-commercialization, because ITDI has intellectual property being protected here. So we will have a one-time technology fee, and some of them will require running royalties. So we have here our calamansi dietary fiber powder from the waste. The resulting powder can be ingested directly as a food supplement or used as a food ingredient. So we are primarily marketing this to enterprises that are already into calamansi processing, this will serve as an additional product. To set up a plant, it will cost about 908,000 without land and a technology fee of 47,800. Next, we have the packaging technology for frozen durian. As we all know, durian is a local delicacy which is being banned on public utility vehicles or even at our airlines because of its powerful odor. So the implementation of this packaging material and method enables tourists to transport their favorite fruit as pasalubong. To set up a plant, it will cost about 1.537 million without land and a technology fee of 46,800. Next, we have here our ready-to-eat arroz caldo, chicken arroz caldo. This is specifically developed as an emergency ration or for disaster, as categorized as a disaster food. It has been studied for at least 1 year and can be consumed without the need for heating or water. So pang first stage response ito during disaster or sa panahon ng emergency. Its packaging has also been known to withstand the physical trauma of the transport. Now, with the recent community quarantines and the COVID-19 pandemic and the annual arrivals of tropical storms, many of us are aware of the need to stock up on emergency food. So to set up a plant, it will cost about 21 million without land and a technology fee of about 180,000 pesos. So last on the slide is the technology to manufacture a red colorant from a natural source. So ito yung tinatawag na Monascos purpureus colorant. It is a food-grade red pigments that can be manufactured from a mold. Yung Monascos purpureus, itong pangalan ng mold. More commonly known in making a delicacy in the northern provinces of the Philippines called angkap or red yeast rice. To set up a plant, it will cost about 1.282 million without land and a technology fee of 20,000. So here in the slide, this features our tableya and our nipa sap sugar, drum. with the DOST Tablea. The researchers have studied these traditional methods for the production or manufacturing of the local tablea or our Philippine chocolate drink. They made improvements to the process that resulted in improvements in quality to the native delicacy. To set up a plant for this technology without land, it will cost about 1.943 million with a technology fee of 50,000. At the middle of the slide, we have the Nipa sap sugar, which is a substitute for the synthetic sugar, which contains minerals and has the medium glycemic index. So it has a lower glycemic index to sugar, which dominates the consumer market. If you are interested in looking up a model setup, we have partnered this with the Southern Luzon State University in Infanta, Quezon, and they had been operating since about 2015. To set up a plant, it will cost about 828,000 pesos without land and a technology fee of 28,500. Now for the various fruit flakes that we have developed, this is being processed using the drum dryer. This snack food is healthy, all natural and nutritious. So to set up a plant, it will cost about 6.63 million without land and a technology fee ranging from 56,500 to 65,000 depending on the commodity. Now let's go to our processing equipment. We have accredited fabricators who can fabricate these machines that we have prototyped. First, we have the salt iodizing machine. So in the ASIN law, or an act of the iodization of the salt in the Philippines, requires that all salt sold in the Philippines that are used for food, whether human and animals, are adequately iodized. So this requires some additional processing for local salt manufacturers. To enable the industry to meet the law or to meet the government requirements, the Institute designed an equipment for local fabricators to use in manufacturing for salt producers. This includes the screw-type salt iodizing machine. And to set up a fabrication facility, it will cost about 1.49 million without land and a technology fee of 40,000. For the cacao processing equipment, we all know that cacao farming and processing is a high-value crop, and it is one of the government's priority agricultural commodities. So this cacao roasting machine was designed specifically for the MSMEs who want to produce cacao products or those who want to pre-process their raw cacao for added value. To set up a fabrication facility, it will cost about 3.227 million with a technology fee of 171,000. Several of the ITDI livelihood packages and manufacturing technologies utilize a steam-jacketed kettle. So ito yung sa upper right na photo in the slide. So the steam kettle makes sure the evenness of cooking compared to the conventionally used stove-top kettle. In turn, this causes producers to achieve a consistent product quality that is important in manufacturing. And lastly, in this slide, ITDI has developed also a wine processing kit or a wine fermentation kit for an accelerated manufacturing of local spirits. This means that the manufacturer can churn out more wine with consistent quality. Now, in this slide, these technologies are categorized in what we call extension, no? Or under our extension services. So this only requires a training fee without a technology fee and FOB. So ITDI have developed a training program for the preparation of smoked fish, meatless burgers, and spring rolls, pickled papaya, ham making. And in the training, this includes the basic knowledge in smoked fish processing, including good manufacturing practices and quality control. And for those who have access, no, for the raw material, when it comes to cassava, malunggay, kamote, and mongo, we have developed a nutrient-rich powder that can be used as a nutritious food additive or consumed as porridge during emergencies. So ito yung tinatawag naming Sagip Nutri Powder Emergency Food Reserve, coming from our cassava, malunggay, kamote, and mongo. Next slide. So in support of the food innovation centers, the food innovation centers are being established nationwide in all regions, and these are placed in academies and SUCs. We also offer training courses on this food processing equipment. So we have the freeze dryer, we have the spray dryer, we have the water retort, and the vacuum fryer. So these are versatile processes that can be implemented on different user specifications. So for the freeze drying technology, this is the method to dehydrate heat-sensitive materials through sublimation. So it preserves the nutrients, color, aroma, and flavor of the product. For the spray drying technology, this converts liquid into powdered products that is also shelf-stable, easier to handle, for prolonged storage and transport due to reduced volume and weight. And we also have here the thermal processing technology using the water retort. This is a method for preservation of food packed in retort pouches, cans, or in bottles. And for the vacuum frying technology, this is a deep frying method under reduced pressure in a closed system that results in a crunchier fried food with less oil content. Now in these slides, I'll be showing to you the technologies that we have developed for public good. So ITDI has also converted many of its intellectual property into livelihood modules, freely available for download for anyone interested. So if you see here in the slides, we have the link, no, for this technologies, the videos. You can have a free access on this in YouTube. The packages are complete with a list of equipment, raw materials, and manufacturing processes. These are highly recommended for homemakers or micro-scale entrepreneurs interested in starting up small. So we have featured here our calamansi concentrate. Calamansi can be easily found everywhere. In peak seasons, the supply far outweighs demand. This leads to loss. It is primarily to make use of surplus fruit that calamansi farmers look into calamansi processing. So we at ITDI is proud to share that it has had a few successful partnerships in this specific field of expertise. So processing knowledge can now be downloaded for free for publicly available Google Drive folder of our livelihood modules, as well as also for the mango processing, either dried, juice, or puree. So we all know that mango is also a prevalent fruit-bearing tree in various parts of the country. This is why so many MSMEs ask for help in the processing of this fruit. So one of our livelihood packages lists an assortment of mango products and details how each is manufactured. So it can be dried, it can be puree, or it can be ready to drink the mango juice. And next we have our natural vinegar production using our developed acetator kit. Similar to the wine processing kit mentioned earlier, the acetator kit accelerates the fermentation process, so shorter ang processing time. This means that more vinegar is produced, but at retained quality standards. So if you are familiar with the press release last year from another DOST agency called the PNRI Vinegar Brands last year, this is regarding the safety that has been called into question because of using a synthetic vinegar rather than a natural source. So this process is entirely natural and has even caught the attention of the Philippine Coconut Authority. So lastly, we have also a process for the manufacture of the coconut sap sugar or sweetener from coconut sap. This is similar to the aforementioned NIPA sap sweetener production technology that was shown earlier, but this is recommended to entrepreneurs with access to coconut farms. For the complete list and materials on our free livelihood packages, again, please visit the link on this slide. Should you require more information, even after studying our livelihood packages, please feel free to consult with our researchers and technology transfer officers. The details, contact details will be shown at the end of this presentation. Next slide. So upcoming for ITDI webinars, this is for free. The schedule will still to be announced or to be determined. So these webinars are being presented or organized so we can assist current and budding entrepreneurs in setting up their small businesses, or at least to give them an idea of what to put up. So our office will be offering these free webinars. On the following topics, we have food processing, we have waste management, nutraceuticals, others, and metrology. So for food processing, we will be offering calamansi, jam making, ginger, ketchup making, chips making, awareness seminar on halal, food safety at the household level, product and process development, and the vinegar production. For the waste management, we'll be offering free webinars on the conduct of waste analysis and characterization study, as well as the chemical safety and hazardous waste management. For the nutraceuticals, we will be offering free webinars on hand sanitizer, soap making, hand wash making, and the virgin coconut oil processing. So we will be also offering awareness seminar on ITDI technology transfer and other modes of engagement. And last, for our metrology, we will be also offering webinars for measurements and calibrations. So please subscribe to our Facebook page for automatic updates of our free webinars. Next slide. I think this is the last slide. So that concludes the run-through of ITDI food processing technologies available for transfer. So the next segment will go through the policies that serves as a basis for DOST, specifically ITDI's technology transfer interventions. And this will be presented by Ms. Nelia Florendo, the Chief of the Technological Services Division. I hope I got your attention, I got your interest in what we have at ITDI. Should you wish to discuss anything further, we can reach through the details here. At the last slides, we will be giving you the contact details, or you could also get in touch with the regional office in Iloilo City. Again, thank you very much for your kind attention.
Thank you very much, Dr. Briones. Ito po ay isang magandang balita sa ating mga MSMEs kasi napakarami pong available technology sa DOST ITDI na pwede po nilang i-commercialize o i-adopt. Para po sa ating mga MSMEs na nakikinig at gusto ng i-commercialize o i-adopt ang isa sa mga technologies na nabanggit, our last expert speaker, Ma'am Delda Elisa Florendo, Chief Science Research Specialist, will discuss the technology transfer and commercialization procedure of the Institute. Go ahead, ma'am.
Okay, so good morning, everyone. Especially to our organizer from the DOST Regional Office 6, as well as dun sa ating mga participants who have joined us or participated in this webinar series. So, I hope you got excited with the first two presentation that was provided by my co-worker, Ms. Lee Baracol, as well as our director, Director Briones. So now we are, I think, in the most exciting part, that is the mechanics for technology transfer. But before that, let me walk you through the governing policies. I think with this, you will better understand our institute on how we protect, manage all identified technologies which we think is appropriate or ready for transfer. So may I have the next slide, please? So, don't worry, I hope you don't get bored with this. I won't be discussing much of this, but just a walkthrough on the policies, because this serves as our Bible in pursuing technology transfer undertakings. So I believe with this slide, you would know the governing policies that we follow. We start first with the RA 10055, also known as the Philippine Technology Transfer Act of 2009, and its implementing rules and regulation covered under the DOST IPO Joint Administrative Order 002. Basically, RA 10055 provides the framework and support system in the managing of intellectual properties generated through public funded research and development activities. So in 2015, succeeding policies to support the system for the implementation of this RA 10055 has been crafted and approved. And this is very vital to us, particularly to us Research and Development Institute. So just a rundown, We have the DOST Administrative Order 099, known also as the Technology Transfer Protocol for RDIs. Here, this serves as, we follow the procedures appropriate for transfer at a different level of development. So this is also stated also in this protocol how we manage the technology fees and royalty fees given as incentive to all our researchers. Actually, it is one of the intention of the law so that we could promote innovation. They also provide some sort of incentive. Very minimal lang naman po to. The sharing will be 60% of the fee will go to the government, goes back to the government, while 40% will be shared by all the researchers who generated the technology. Next is the DOST AO004 or the DOST IP policy. So from here, it clearly states the responsibilities of DOST, and its council and other government funding agencies and SNT communities involved in the management of intellectual properties. It clearly states the role of RDIs. Dito po sinasabi na it's the ownership of the intellectual property belongs to the Research and Development Institute. While in some cases wherein it's covered under a research agreement, of course, it could be negotiated that it could also be a joint ownership between the government and another government entity or a private entity who would like to engage the R&D services with us, the ITDI or other RDIs under the DOST. While the next is the DOST Administrative Order 003 or the Data Sharing Policy, which is also very important to us since it reflects or stipulates the extent, the scope, and how all research and development outputs and documented knowledge will be shared to public without compromising the intellectual property rights of this information. So from there, we were able to implement our techno-transfer activities with the guiding principles of these policies. While in 2019, under the DOST and Intellectual Property Office Joint Administrative Order 001, ito po yung nag-amend nung ating IRR for RA 10055 and its succeeding policies like the IP policy, the tech transfer protocol, the IP policy for the government funding agencies, and even the contract research guidelines and guidelines for the issuance of fairness opinion report, which is part of the commercialization process. The aim, the objective why this was amended is because we would like to address some issues. We would like to respond on some gray areas or lapses in implementing those policies to make our tech transfer undertaking more effective. Okay, so next slide, please. So in this slide, we just want to give emphasis that under this RA 10055, the state fully recognized that science, technology, and innovation is the key to economic growth. And in this case, we have been encouraging the law has been encouraging the widest and most systematic participation of all stakeholders in terms of policy making related to science and technology. Particularly, it hopes that this will benefit the Filipinos or what we call the general public. So ang ginagawa po naman natin since alam natin na ang mga research development activities is being funded through the taxes of the Filipino people, we try to make sure from this law na ang magbe-benepisyo po dito ay ang mga Pilipino. So next slide, please. Okay. So under the technology transfer protocol for RDIs, I just want to walk you through na Hindi po ganun kadali to undertake the management and protection of all intellectual properties or technologies generated by the Institute. In fact, we had a lot of process to undertake for this, no? Ang isa po dito, we just want to give a highlight na in terms of determining the modes of utilization of the technologies, it has to go through a process like we are having what we call the technical review committee for the Research and Development Institute, no, which is composed of researchers or the experts, officers and executive committee members, and of course the technology licensing offices. Ang task po is to monitor all new and ongoing R&D projects and activities. And from there, it derive whatever intellectual properties will be the outcome of this activity and evaluate which is appropriate for transfer or what we call commercialization. But from this, we made already some innovations with regards to the review of our technology. Sometime in 2017 or 2018, we first conducted the first technology readiness assessment review of all our 27 technologies, which the output is a compendium of 27 technologies. What is this TRA review? Actually, we try to determine the technology readiness level of all technologies and as well determine the gaps that we need still to pursue through R&D to improve the maturity level of all our technologies para po mas maging much ready na siya for transfer and commercialization. And in addition to that, our TRC have also made some innovation wherein we have engaged also industry partners, like we formed a committee to our through of course the effort of our director. Ito po yung Industry Advisory Committee wherein they provide the TRC insights in terms of market and the customer requirements para naman po mas maging in-depth po ang knowledge ng mga researchers on how to push through and how to proceed with the transfer, promotion, and the marketing of all our technologies generated. And from here, in the revision of the IRR, we also made it clear the definition for commercialization. Well, when we say commercialization, technologies or intellectual property should be pilot tested, and if applicable, must pass all the standards or criteria or what we call the set for evaluation by the RDI TRC. Ang isa pong tinitingnan namin dito, we try to make sure what we evaluate here is that all technologies are found not only to be technically feasible, but more, it should also be economically viable because we are eyeing that these technologies will be utilized or used for livelihood and businesses of our industry. Next slide, please. So, as we have clearly defined the meaning of commercialization on the part of RDI, this also provided us an option to come up with another stage of technology readiness level, or what we call the pre-commercialization stage. So, as I mentioned earlier, anything that is missing in this definition of the commercialization, the technology will fall under the pre-commercialization level. So with that, we would also like to make mention of our the DOST Technology Application and Promotion Institute, who has these programs to assist not only us RDIs, but as well as prospective entrepreneurs or would-be cooperator to our technology in terms of pre-commercialization activities like pilot scale testing, the field testing, pilot production for market testing, and commercialization. Our concern is to undergo validation of our technologies because we believe that investing on these technologies will incur capital investment. And of course, we want you to be sure na pag nag-adapt po kayo ng technology all issues has been resolved, particularly the market and the customer requirement part of the technology. Okay, you can just visit the TAPI website if you would like to know more of these programs under the to validate yung mga technologies for possible commercialization. Next slide, please. Okay, so as mentioned also in my former slide, so we have the pre-commercialization and we have the commercialization level. So it means what is required of our technology to be tagged as ready for commercialization. Of course, it should be at least a technology readiness level 7. No? And it should have been documented, the complete R&D with the endorsed technical report. This has sample prototypes, clinical trials, and other relevant tests. And it should also undergone field testing of the prototypes to ensure that we have already validated the repeatability of our technologies, and of course, taking into account its economic viability. Of course, the TLO has much part in the recommendation of what modes could be used, of what stage the technology has been during our technical review committee meetings. Next slide, please. Okay. As far as we know, in the revised IRR, before it used to be the TAPI, or the Technology Application Promotion Institute, who has been acting as the secretariat for the issuance of the Fairness Opinion Report. But with the revised IRR, now it is the respective regional offices who acts as the secretariat for the FOB secretariat for the issuance of FOR. But what we'd like to point out in this slide is that not all technologies for transfer would require our fairness, the Fairness Opinion Report as stated in our IRR for RA 10055. Ano po ang mga exempted dito? First, we have the government extension programs, the training services, those technologies that fall under the categories of public good. Well, in fact, ITDI has already drafted the policy on public good, soon to be signed, kaunting review na lang po, to be signed by our director to clearly identify which technologies will fall under the public good category. We also have the manufacturing for pre-commercialization activities, in which case we issue a limited manufacturing license, no? Para naman to give to have a flexibility for our adopter to at least try first the technology on its pre-commercialization stage to look into the market potential and opportunities, no, before they even go to a much higher level of commercialization stage. And also other cases that may be determined by the RDI. Next slide, please. Okay, so this refers to the Fairness Opinion Review, which before the Fairness Opinion Board issue a Fairness Opinion Report, which is the basis of the Secretary for issuance of the Fairness Opinion Report. But on the revised IRR, it will be a separate entity. Next slide, please. So the FOR will serve as the opinion of the FOB in terms of conditions of the proposed transaction. Whereas for the written report, which will be issued by our secretary, it is also part of his recommendation and not necessarily it is aligned to the report issued based on the Fairness Opinion Report. So what is the essence of this Fairness Opinion Report? This is how we demonstrate our transparency and accountability in all our transactions. We make sure that our transaction is both fair to the government as well as to the other parties that that we have the transaction with, particularly on technology transfer undertakings. So next slide. So this slide just present to you the summary of the relevant amendments based on the amended mga policies on DOST 017, that is the Technology Transfer Protocol, and the DOST Memorandum Circular regarding the issuance of the Fairness Opinion Report, as well as the Secretary's written recommendation and other relevant clauses. Okay, so next slide. So now, ito na po yung aming mechanism on how we go through. So based on my previous presentation, you can see that this guiding policies serve as our principle in how we proceeded with how we classify and the modes of transfer of the technologies that was presented to you by our director, Ma'am Annabelle. So now we proceed to the next slide, please. Okay, so this is how we go about our technology transfer. Of course, our very first requirement is we've got to have a letter of intent to the client who is interested to adopt our technology. So after that, it will serve also as basis to pursue other actions to be taken. So very important po to yung letter of intent, no? Because from here, we would come up with a series of consultative meeting for us. Magkakaroon po tayo some sort of presentation. We would like to know your motivation and why you would like to adopt. And on our part, we'll try to see if your needs and requirement will match the technology that you are eyeing, no? Based on what you want to adopt from our institute. And we come up with a series of technology needs assessment to match your needs with our technologies that we will be offering to you, no, as possible adopter or cooperator. So, of course, in doing this, we need some requirements, like we will be needing your company profile for us to know better if you are an existing industry or MSMEs. Then the business plan, registration, the audited financial statement, and the list of clients that you have already dealt with. Actually, ito po mga requirements na to is much fitted for all technologies for commercialization, particularly those that will undergo fairness opinion report, no? So kailangan po to. But of course, even with other negotiations like simple memorandum of agreement, we also need to know yung more, no? Kasi po kayo yung aming ka-transact, and we like to make sure na our technology will reach the market. So after the TNA series of consultative meetings and technology needs assessment, matching of our technologies, the requirements, we now proceed with the drafting of our agreement, wherein it will be stipulated, the terms and conditions will stipulate what will be the role of ITDI, what will be the role of the DOST regional office in this undertaking, and what will be your role as possible cooperator or adopter of the technology. So after we have agreed on this, of course, we will proceed for those technologies we consider for commercialization, dadaan po siya ng fairness opinion review part. While kung hindi naman po for commercialization, ito yung nasa mga pre-commercialization stages natin at yung ilan sa mga extension service trainings natin. Now we proceed with what we call the implementation of our technology transfer undertaking in various modes of engagement. So next slide, please. Okay, so here, as mentioned earlier, we have classified our technologies into different levels, no, of development. For those, at ito po yung we tabulated ano ang mga requirements for each of this classification. For those technologies under the commercialization level, I think I have already mentioned to you the definition of what is commercialization. Of course, what will be the requirement is the technology fee and running royalties. Most of these technologies under commercialization, ito po yung mga merong intellectual property rights. And those we found that there's really a big big market opportunity, no? So it also will require the Fairness Opinion Board review for the issuance of the Fairness Opinion Report. Our document here will be a technology licensing agreement. This licensing agreement includes other support services like trainings, technical assistance and services, and other support services to assist you in setting up your business. So, anything for technologies that will not qualify under the commercialization level, we have the stage of pre-commercialization wherein we will be requiring a technology fee, also running royalty, but it won't pursue what we call the Fairness Opinion Board review, no, for the issuance of Fairness Opinion Report. Our documentation here will be a memorandum of agreement. As mentioned earlier, this is more on conditional licensing with additional support. For example, you may make use of will be given priority in making use of our service facility for the initial market testing or production of prototypes for market testing to validate some parameters within the production that you would like to tweak or innovate. So ito po yung magiging component ng ating conditional licensing. But of course, in the event that you will intend to increase the output over the level of what we call the commercialization scale, it has to undergo a negotiation for the drafting of our technology licensing agreement, which would already require a fairness opinion report. I hope I made this clear to you. While for other programs, like for extension, for public good, and for further R&D, for extension, we might need a tech fee, which will be covered, like for the training, the supplies and materials needed for the training and other use of facilities. It could be under a memorandum of agreement, but it depends on the extent of the extension service or training service that we will provide. This is more on training seminars and technical services. And the public good, as mentioned earlier, it's given for free. No, some of it you can already access the information to our website. We have also available flyers, brochures for this technology. We even provide free consultation services for this, and most of these are featured also during our NSTW, no, yung ating mga social media and other social marketing events. Also, mostly are hosted by our DOST regional offices. And it doesn't mean that we have generated prototypes from our R&D, hindi na po siya pwedeng i-transfer. Well, in fact, we also consider this for transfer for future R&D. So since this type of prototype may be used for other R&D purposes, so inaano po rin namin to, kasama po ito sa mga ino-offer din namin, no, for further R&D. Of course, with this, we need a cooperator from the industry who would take us, we would take our technology towards improvement or to a higher level of commercialization. Ito pong mga pinag-uusapan nating technology fee and running royalties, these are all subject to negotiation. pinag-uusapan po natin to. Wala po tayong fix dito, no? Kasi kaya nga po very important to us to know your motivation, your reason why you would like to adopt the technology, and your purpose and when, where you would use our technology. So ganun po naman kami. All these are subject to negotiation. So, and in these negotiations and all our agreements will be reflected either in our technology licensing agreement or in our memorandum of agreement. Okay, so next slide, please. Okay, so in any tech transfer undertaking, of course, each every one of us has an important role to undertake. Like for us as RDI, as technology generator, we produce new intellectual properties because that is a main function to boost innovation and competitiveness to our industry. And with that, we make sure that our R&D are focused on what is being needed and requirement by industry to improve competitiveness and productivity. So we also promote R&D outputs directly through our regional offices. No? Ito po mga regional offices namin, ito po yung marketing arm. They are the ones who help us to promote and disseminate information of our technologies kasi po hindi namin to kayang mag-isa. To have a greater reach ng information about our technology. Also, we are the one who assess applicants for the ability to utilize our technology because in any tech transfer undertaking, our purpose is to make sure that these technologies will be utilized and with the hope that this will be seen in the market. Para naman po tayo proud na ito ay mga DOST product, ito po ay meron nag-adopt and now it's selling in the market. We also negotiate terms in terms of yung technology adoption. As mentioned earlier, sabi ko nga sa inyo, lahat po ng mga tech fees, mga learning royalties, and other terms, it's all subject to negotiation. Pag-uusapan natin lahat yon. And implement technology transfer programs and activities because we would like all our tech transfer undertaking to be effective and efficient. While our regional offices and provincial offices, they are the ones who support the new R&D projects and particularly who could help us through the pre-commercialization activities for our technologies and intellectual properties. Sila po ang tumutulong sa amin maghanap ng cooperator or possible adopter para naman ma-utilize ang mga technologies ng DOST. Promote RDI IPs to regional and provincial beneficiaries. We also help us assess the applicants for their ability to utilize the technologies. Kasi po mas kilala niya kayo dahil nandiyan kayo sa regions nila. Now, ito yung greater task sa kanila. They are the ones who would act as secretariat for the Fairness Opinion Board to issue the Fairness Opinion Report as may be necessary based on what is set by the RDIs, and also help us in the monitoring and assessment of the implementation of the technology to ensure continual improvement and sustainability. For our beneficiaries, of course, we also expect much from you, particularly in providing us feedback regarding the acceptability of the technologies or IPs that we have transferred, no? Kasi sabi nga namin, we won't improve not unless we get pertinent feedback from your end, no? So ito po yung magiging basis namin to move forward or to improve or to conceptualize further R&D on these technologies. Then apply for the adoption of our technology through the process na pinakita nga po namin sa inyo. And you are the ones who would negotiate terms with us. Kung ano po yung ease of transfer for you para naman na masabi namin na makakatuloy po kayo, no, sa pag-adapt ng technology. And you will be our partners in the implementation of technology transfer programs and activities. Now, in this kind of undertaking, of course, we would like to thank, I think this is the last slide, we would like I would like to thank also yung ating DOST regional offices for helping us, no, to promote these technologies. Because I believe na tayo po lahat ay dapat magtulong-tulong to fight the challenges of this COVID-19 pandemic. And ito lang po sa pamaraan na to, mapapakita natin na science, technology, and innovation is really a key towards economic growth. Thank you very much. And please, for any inquiries, next slide, please. Next slide, please. For any inquiries, please write our director, Dr. Annabel Briones, also our presenter for the technologies offered by ITDI, or you can write also the ITDI Technological Services Division. Please visit our website and like us on our Facebook. Thank you very much po, and hope you enjoyed the presentations.
Thank you very much, Ma'am Florendo. We will use the remaining time for the open forum session. So we have received two related questions through our One Expert portal from Ma'am Cecil Junicio, DOST Cordillera Administrative Region. So her question is, what is the coverage of the technology piece? And related to that is a question from Ma'am Evelyn Tablante from DOST 8. Most of our MSMEs cannot afford the technology fees. So what other arrangement kaya, ma'am?
Okay. So ang coverage, actually, the technology fees reflect it's either the R&D cost, no? Para naman natin makita how much ba ang in-spend ng government for this project. And also, part of it is the projection on yung opportunity, yung business opportunity of this technology, because 60% of this will go back to the government to be used again for continuing R&D programs, no? Only 40% of this, which will be shared among researchers, will serve as the incentive for our researchers para naman po mas ma-motivate sila. Sabi ko nga, ito rin yung spirit ng RA 10055, no? To boost innovation in the country through our researchers who has been continuously exerting effort to produce innovative technologies for our industry and, of course, to the manufacturing sector. Now, part of the technology fee, marami naman po kasing klase. It could be a one-time fee or it could be an upfront fee with running royalty. Ito po yung for every income generated by the adapter or the enterprise, meron lang daw pong portion of it, no? Yun nga po yung pinag-uusapan na it will be shared again among the government and the researchers. So ito po yung, it's part of the law, no? It's part of the implementing rules and regulation, as well as the nandun po siya nakastipulate sa technology transfer protocol. These are, yung mga fees natin na to are related to those technologies for pre-commercialization and for commercialization. Hindi naman po siya doon sa mga extension services. Kung meron mang fee po for our extension services, it only covers yung mga supplies and materials and other mga info materials na pinoprovide namin during the course of our training.
Thank you, Ma'am Florendo. We have received a question through our Google Meet. How long is the time frame based on the approved technology transfer for it to be operational? Or they can already start selling?
Okay. So with this, hindi lang po sa part namin to, of course. It's a joint undertaking between us and the party, and of course, the support of our regional offices. Because lalo na po dun sa mga startups or for those who need still to invest, it depends how soon they will be able to comply with all the requirements needed for the commercialization or the pre-commercialization process. So for us, we for as long as we already drafted yung ating MOA or the TLA, nakastipulate na po ang timeline. Pinag-agreean din, pinag-a-agreean din po namin ito nung aming yung other parties, no? How soon will you be able to provide this? Or as much as possible, dapat nga matagal na yung 1 year for the initial production. Kasi depende rin po ito sa level of sa technology na ito transfer. So it really depends. Pinag-uusapan mo yan. Ang mahalaga po pagdating po sa drawing board, pag nag-usap po kami o nag-draft po kami ng Memorandum of Agreement, ano na po, lahat ng issues related to that, pinag-uusapan na po para for us to come up with a timeline that is both favorable for us, ITDI, for the regional offices, as well as doon sa ating parties.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. I think we have another question through our One Expert portal. Okay. So from Miriam De La Paz, is the training fee per participant po ba or per training?
Miss Lee, gusto mo ikaw naman ang sumagot?
Okay.
Ako na ba?
Miss Lee, ikaw na muna.
Okay.
Ako muna. Ikaw na
Yung,
Ikaw na muna sumagot.
okay po. Yung pong training fee is a total training fee po for training. Then usually po, may number of participants po tayo that can accommodate per training. It's a training fee for the whole training. Tapos, can I add po kanina, I think may question, Ma'am Nel kanina na paano daw po yung if halimbawa hindi pa kaagad afford yung technology fee. Tama, Ma'am Mary Rose kanina.
Yes, ma'am.
So meron po rin tayong option na, yun nga sabi ni Ma'am Nelia kanina, pinag-uusapan niyang mga yan sa drawing board. So there are times po na we allow naman po, hindi 100% kaagad yung payment. So merong halimbawa 50% po muna, and then ilang months, saka po yung another 50%. And in addition din po, part din po nung sa training technology fee natin, yung assistance namin for, na-discuss na kasi ni Ma'am to kanina, yung part nung pagka-come up natin ng marketing samples kanina, Ma'am Rose, di ba parang may nakita ka tayong question na gano'n. So we can assist po in coming up market samples para po ma-introduce and matest muna sa merkado yung mga produkto before po sila pumunta sa commercialization stage. So yun po yung mga bagay na kasama po sa, kumbaga, our assistance dun sa mga mag-a-adapt po na technology. Thank you. Thank you po.
Thank you, Ma'am.
Annabel po ata.
Ay, yes, ma'am.
I will add lang muna, yung sa training fee natin, hindi naman talaga yan very rigid, very strict. So flexible naman yung training fee natin. It can be in a group or individual. Ganun lang naman yung training fee namin, and it's not very expensive. Kasi
Yes,
payment lang ng material.
Pwede siyang halimbawa community-based training. Ang mangyayari nun, you will just supply all the materials needed. Kayo na lang yung magsusupply, and of course, siguro kaunting transportation for kung pupunta dyan o kung sa site naman. Ganun lang. It's not really hardcore fee na ibabayad sa amin. Depende yon sa usapan.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, ma'am. We have two questions po from Ma'am Divina Ramiliano. First po, please explain yung right of first refusal as incentive. Tapos, may we have a sample MOA for contractual research that leads to shared ownership of IP with an MSME?
Okay. Ma'am Annabel, ikaw ba?
Ikaw na muna, Nels. Yung
Okay.
ating...
So, yung right to first refusal, actually, nangyayari to pag meron tayong na-engage na contract research with a private or pwede ring government dependent, no? Of course, our contract research, please bear in mind that these are covered by what we call a research agreement, wherein nakastipulate na rin yun doon. Pati yung if it will be a joint ownership, no? Ano ang magiging role ng kabila for the other party to qualify for a joint ownership. Yung right to first refusal, for example, merong in-engage na research sa ITDI, then eventually, na-complete ng research, nakita natin may mga potential siya, no? Potential IPs as well as it has market potential. And we need now to pursue the transfer, the utilization of this technology. Ang una namin tatanungin, yung naging cooperator natin, kasi siya ang may first right to pursue the commercialization of this technology. Now, in the event lang, nasabihin niya, okay, I just need the information, it's okay with me, pwede nyo nang i-promote, no? Kasi siya ang first, yung naging cooperator namin o those na naka-engage with our contract research, siya ang unang dapat facilitate ng transfer ng technology, not unless he or she waived his right to pursue the commercialization or to adopt the technology or the commercialization of technology. But of course, this should be covered by a document, no? And Ms. Lee, meron tayong actually, sa PIMISD siguro natin kunin, a research agreement wherein naka-incorporate yung possibly na pwede siyang joint ownership on the IPs. It also depends on the terms na nandun, no?
Yes,
yung magiging role ng other party, why he would qualify for a joint ownership.
Yes, ma'am. And usually po, merong technical contribution.
Yes.
Para po mag-qualify.
Yun ang ano namin doon, meron siya dapat parang intellectual contribution doon sa pagbuo ng project na yon. Not only funds, hindi lang yung siya lang yung nagbayad, hindi siya yun lang. Okay.
So there will be sharing of IP rin. But if it is a joint R&D.
So, ma'am, si Ma'am Divina is asking if they can have a sample MOA. Yung kanina, yung question po niya.
Yes po.
Yes.
Yes
Okay.
po, we can give po.
Sa Region 6 na ba natin ibigay?
Ang office si Miss Bettina.
I will check po, ma'am. I will check kung ano.
Okay, we can email
Pwede
her.
pong makisingit, Ma'am Annabel? Ano po
sige,
yata siya,
thank you.
taga FIC po, if I remember, si Ma'am Ramiliano. Kaya
Okay.
yun po, minsan nagpapaturo sila on how we transfer technologies.
Okay. FIC 6 pala
Alam
siya.
niyo, Champi pala.
Opo.
Okay, no problem.
Sige.
We can send it through email po.
Oo.
The
Sige,
sample
ma'am.
MOA.
Communicate with the Ma'am Divina. And then we have a question sa Google Meet portal. How many years ba, ma'am, ang company na nag-operate for it to qualify to apply? From Ma'am Bel Gonzaga po.
Miss Lee, ikaw naman.
One of the requirements po ay yung financial stability ng company. So usually po mga 2 to 3 years, okay na yon. But kung halimbawa po bago pa lang siya, halimbawa first year operation pa rin siya, meron naman po tayong alternate doon. Usually they can present po mga bank deposits, fixed assets na meron sila sa company. Hindi po tayo very strict with the number of years. Basta they can send proof to us po na financially stable and kaya po i-finance yung, especially yung mga capital outlay and working capital noong technology po na interested siya. We have our parameters naman po to check on that.
Gusto ko rin i-explain bakit natin hinahanap yung tinitingnan yung financial capability. Kasi nga we would like to be ensured na they will meet the requirements of the
Yes.
technology at madadala talaga nila yung technology. Hindi siya ma-stagnate sa kanya, no? If he or she doesn't have the financial means para madala ang technology sa commercialization. Kasi yun lang yung ano natin dito yung hope natin makarating siya sa merkado, no? That's why we are asking for that. Kasi baka tanungin niya, ba't tinatanong pa yung aming financial capability? Yun yung reason for that.
Yes, ma'am. I agree po. Para hindi po maging pabigat din po yung pag-adapt or pag-transfer ng technologies.
Oo.
Baka instead po na makatulong, makapabigat pa po sa
Yes.
Yes.
client.
At saka, ma'am, to add on po, Miss Rose, advantage din po kung halimbawa, kumbaga may similar products sila na pinuproduce. Kasi yun din po yung isa namin tinitingnan. Halimbawa, interested po siya sa isang technology. And then meron siyang mga past experiences with the similar technology. And may mga existing siyang equipment, halimbawa, na hindi na niya na-maximize yung paggamit. So part din po ng services namin yun. Pag nag-visit kami, natingnan namin kasi baka po pwede nilang magamit yun instead na bibili pa siya ng bago. So, yun po. Kumbaga, we try to ano yung available na pwede pa rin nila magamit, na hindi sila bibili. Kasi alam natin na may mga investment costs. And sometimes, yun yung nagiging hindrance. But we try to work it out po na mapababa naman yun given po yung current setting ng company po na interested sa technology.
Okay, ma'am. Salamat po.
Thank you.
And I have a question from Ma'am Celeste May Ganaba. For clarification, is the registration fee covers all the raw materials for fabrication?
Ma'am, registration fee for? Is that training fee or technology transfer? Registration fee?
I think she's referring to the technology fee.
Iba kasi pag fabricate. Kasi may mga accredited fabricators kami, pwede silang mag-order na direct sa fabricators. Iba rin ang usapan namin ng pag-accredit ng fabricators. Please, Lee or Nelia, ipaliwanag nyo rin yung pag-accredit natin ng fabricators. Who will fabricate yung ating mga prototypes na processing equipment. Kasi baka nalito sila ng registration fee pagdating sa ating mga fabricated equipment.
Technology.
For the fabricators, kasi what we license is the design of the equipment. So we provide licensing nung aming mga designs for them to make use of this. At sila yung tinatawag natin na licensed fabricator natin, no? Before they have to go through the process, they have to produce at least one prototype to make sure that nagko-comply sila sa requirement of that equipment. Pina-functional test yun, tinitignan how well they follow or yung the required specs of the equipment during the functional and performance testing. Of course, may tech fee po ito, no? Although mga prototypes to, yung mga equipment ma-develop nila out of this design, yung tech fee po, just like other tech transfer undertaking, yung po rin yung subject to ano tawag dito, yung sharing of 60-40 sharing, no? 60% goes back to the government while 40% to the researchers who initiated or completed that research or the design and fabrication of prototype equipment. Iba po yun. Ngayon, kung gusto nyo lang gumamit na equipment, we will refer you naman dun sa aming mga accredited or licensed fabricator. Kasi dalawang part po, ang direct adapter natin yung fabricator. While secondary adapter natin, the one who use the equipment para naman makita niya how well nagpe-perform yung equipment natin, no? Based on the design provided.
Ma'am, yung ma'am, yung question refers to the technology fee.
Ayun na nga, na-discuss na po ni Nelia yung technology fee.
Yes. You have yung question from Rene Garonita, yung sa Food Innovation Center po ba yung pwedeng gawin yung training? And then from Sir Alan Francis Darao, how are you going to conduct the training po ba? It's face-to-face or virtual din po?
Magiging blended. Blended ang ating training due to this COVID pandemic. So meron tayong virtual, and then kung kailangan talaga ng face-to-face, there will be limited numbers lang ng, kasi may protocol din tayong sinusunod dito sa ITDI. I don't know if Dr. Norbert is there. Nandyan pa ba si Norbert? Kasi we also have a protocol on this na kung mag face-to-face talaga. Kasi hindi man kailangan, Norbert, for the
Yes,
training
ma'am.
daw, yung ating sa FIC, I mean, I think you have your protocol for that. Tinatanong ni Alan.
Yes, good morning sa mga participants. Narinig po ako, ma'am.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, sir, you're loud and clear.
Oo nga. Nasa transition kasi tayo ngayon from the old to the new normal. So, meron tayong mga constraints dahil sa quarantine. As much as possible, we would like to ensure yung safety. Yung bawat isa, yung magiging guest sa facility, and of course, yung food product na gagawin din natin. So, meron kaming ini-implement ngayon, starting to implement yung much stricter na protocol sa pag-receive ng persons. Kaya sabi ni ma'am, we would be limiting some number only during the face-to-face meeting. And I think may another constraint tayo because maraming logistical problem when it comes to the source ng raw mat, yung schedules din yun. So, pag na-overcome naman natin yun, kailangan lang well-planned yung ating galaw. I think hopefully kung gaganda ang condition ng quarantine, meaning mag-ease down ng quarantine, we can by the end of this year or early next year baka makapag face-to-face ulit tayo sa training.
Okay, thank you, sir. So, we have a last yes, may pahabol pa po na question from Sir Rene. Kasama na po ba ang payment of logistics transportation from the supplier to the company facility?
Ma'am, sa anong nire-refer po na fee?
Miss Lee, ikaw.
Po. Ma'am Rose, anong nire-refer po kasama saan? Aling fee po doon? Technology fee?
Technology fee ba ang nire-refer?
Oo. Ma'am, I think sa technology fee po talaga ito.
Ma'am, hindi po
Sabi
ba
niya,
sa...
halimbawa po yung vacuum fryer ba?
Technology. Ma'am, hindi po kasama ang logistics doon. At saka yung mga transportation expenses. It will be shouldered by the client po. Ang kasama mo sa technology fee po ay yung pag-transfer namin mismo ng teknolohiya mula po, yun po yung sabi ni ma'am na na-cover ng MOA or ng TLA. Kasama po yun yung know-how na itatransfer namin, yung knowledge. Kasama po dun yung consultancy services namin ng mga experts. Kasama din po dun yung assistance nga po namin, halimbawa to come up ang market testing. So yun po yung mga kasama dun ma'am sa technology fee. Ang nakaalalay din po kami sa monitoring nung kung na-adapt na po nila, minomonitor din natin kung tama ba yung quality na pinoproduce nila. Pero hindi po kasama ma'am ang logistics. Usually po ay yun po ay sinushoulder ng client natin. Pati po yung transportation nung halimbawa po nung expert going po dun sa place na nung ating technology adapt.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
But Ms. Lee, during the discussions naman, kiniklaro natin to sa kanila, ito pa yung mga other expenses, di ba? We made it clear during our discussions, ano pa yung mga ibang mga incidental expenses that they have to shoulder. And it's, I think, part
Yes,
of
ma'am.
MOA. Okay. Para
Yes,
kaya
po.
hindi sila mami-misguide, no? During the
Yes.
discussion, ililay down natin lahat ng mga requirements kailangan talaga, no? We discuss the details of the on how to go through with the transfer of
Yes.
technology.
And both parties po, ITDI and the adapter, mag-a-agree po kung ano yung nakalagay talaga po sa MOA. And para po, sabi nga ni Ma'am Nel at ni Ma'am Annabel, clear na po from the start what are we expecting from this undertaking or from this technology transfer.
Okay.
Thank you, Ms. Rose.
Okay, ma'am, that's, I think that's the last question for today. Sa mga questions na napopost pa, we will try to keep in touch with the participants. Kung may mga questions, you may check on the link flashed on the screen. Here is also the link to the client feedback form. We hope that all participants can take time to fill this out before leaving the webinar. So up next on Expert O is a webinar entitled Innovations in Food Processing by the DOST Food and Nutrition Research Institute. This will be on June 25, so stay tuned. So ma'am, that ends our Expert O webinar for today. Thank you very much, Dr. Briones, Ma'am Baracol, Ma'am Florendo, as well as to all the participants and viewers. Keep safe, everyone.
Thank you very much. Thank you to all participants.
Thank you very much.
Thank you to Ms. Nelia, Dr. Norbert, and the rest of the TSD staff.
Kasmi, thank you. Linda.
Hi, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. Robert, Musta.
Thank you.
Nice.
Okay, bye-bye.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you, Dan. Thank you.